Welcome back to the home stretch. Remember, we told you we had a very interesting personality coming on as our guest artist of the week. Well, she is Bolanle Austen-Peters, and she's the founder and chief executive officer of Bolanle Austen-Peters Production. She's also the owner of Terra Culture. She's a graduate of law, and she also earned a master's degree in international law from the London School of Economics and Political Science.
Right.
In 2003, she founded the Nigerian Arts, Education and Cultural Organization. She began her theatrical production, BAP Production, in 2013 with the production of Saru, the musical, which received great reviews from international media houses, including the BBC and Sky News. Well, let's welcome Bolanle Austen-Peters.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And thank you for coming.
Oh, no, it's my pleasure.
Another one of those who did one thing and are now doing another thing.
I know.
Yes.
I don't know what happens to all of us.
I have a feeling that she uses the law thing in this one basically.
Well, it must come in handy.
In the contracting especially.
Yes.
And that's a regular.
From law to the theater.
Yes.
Please tell us, how did that happen?
Honestly, there's no story. I was working for the United Nations, came back to Nigeria, and I tried to practice law in Nigeria. I didn't really understand what was going on anymore because what I was doing was international law. So I decided to do something different. And I also noticed that when I was abroad, a lot of the spaces that I visited anyways, I love museums. I'm a very arty person. And I recognized that we didn't have such a space in Lagos. And then I started Terra Culture.
Well, we have a museum.
Yes, indeed.
I don't like the way you said that.
No, that's all I need to say. But it is work in progress.
I take umbrage to the way you said that.
Oh my goodness, we have a fantastic museum that is being renovated. We also have
How long has the renovation been?
Dear.
No, there's a lot more coming up. Lagos State is investing more and more in that space. And I think that a lot more art spaces are coming up. And I think that people will benefit more from the multiple spaces. We just happen to have sort of like started earlier than everybody else.
Indeed. But you see, you brought in Terra Culture. Terra Culture is like a home.
It's a mecca of sorts.
Of sorts. Books, performances, galleries. Didn't that shake you up in any way?
You know, when we started, at times you start a journey, you don't know where it's going to take you. So we started humbly. I think you were one of the first people that was really part of Terra Culture. That shows how long I've known you. And it just grew. And I think what happens is that when there's a vacuum, people needed something like that. And what has happened is Nigerians embrace Terra Culture. And possibly we worked really hard to push the content. And we've been very true to what we do. We've stayed in the arts. We don't mix it up with anything else. And I think that is also something that is important, that people tend to dilute their brand. And I've stayed true to character, to form. This is what we do, and that's what we're going to be doing.
Okay. So
I've had one or two events at Terra Culture, the old Terra Culture. And I remember I heard at that time, I don't know how true it is or it was, that you opened that space out for up-and-coming actors and performers to just come and use the place for free.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yeah, we did that for about 8 years. And what I noticed was, because stage theater basically was sort of like dying out, and since we were focused on propagating the arts, the visual, literary, you know, everything we had going on apart from theatrical. So I said, look, let's open it up. Artists are not particularly wealthy, and we don't have spaces in Nigeria that encourages their craft.
yeah.
And you know, when you give, you get back. It's my opening up that space 8 years ago that took me into theater. I didn't know then that I was going to be impacted myself. And going there every Sunday and watching what they were doing got me to fall in love with what I do now.
So what's the plan now? I'm jumping the gun kind of. So what's the plan now? You've left, sort of, not like you've left the theater thing, but you've gone into movies.
Yes. So as a company, we keep expanding, we keep exploring, and we stay, like I said, within the arts. So at a point in time, visual arts was really the strong point, and then we moved into theater, and then theater overwhelmed us, and it just blew. You know, we have our performances going abroad. We've been to South Africa, Egypt, London, and we keep going. We're going to Dubai next with one of our productions again. So that is sort of like comfortable. We're comfortable in that space. And every Easter and Christmas, people expect that we will do something big. Apart from all the corporate events that we have on a regular basis, we have, in a year, we have close to about 20 productions going on at different venues, different events. So that's like, it has a life of its own. So about 3 years ago, we did 93 days. I was one of the executive producers and producers well on the project. And it did very well internationally. It was a festival movie. We traveled to about maybe 8 or 9 international festivals that they invited us to. So
93 days.
93 days did very well internationally because it's more like a docu-film.
Yeah.
We're talking about the story of Ebola. So after doing that, we said, you know what, let's jump into the fray. Let's see how we can do what Nigerians like, which is comedy, and see how through that we can actually tell true stories. So I developed the idea of the Bling Lagosians, which is a study of the lifestyle of most of us, yourself, myself, and included. And I put together that story that, you know, it's a story of flash, excess, lust, greed, love.
Debauchery?
Debauchery, a lot of debauchery. But at the end of the day, there are loads of lessons to be learned because I don't believe in doing things for the sake of doing it. We must convey a message. And there are loads of messages in the Bling Lagosians. We did the trailer deliberately.
Lagosians?
Lagosians,
Oh,
yes. The Blingalicious Lagosians. So we did a lot of, what do you call it?
That's a scene from it?
Yes, yes, yes. Look at that. The Mercedes-Benz scene, the young man, the old man, the sugar daddy scene, the lady who has a bad marriage who says that she has a brilliant marriage, you know, fake.
Oh, Elvina.
Yes,
Okay.
that's Elvina Ibu. She is phenomenal in that. And then the friends, the fake friends, they tell you they love you, but you turn your back and they're just, you know. And this guy, he's a bridge, Alex. He tells the story of old Nollywood, new Nollywood, how we want to make great movies, but we don't have the funding. And at the same time, what does the average Nigerian really want? When you take yourselves or myself out of the equation, the average Nigerian just wants to laugh. So it's that having to bridge the gap of what are we going to be comfortable with churning out. And the love story between him and somebody who is out of his social class. So a lot went into it. It's very heavy, very deep. But in doing the trailer, I deliberately left out the deep so that I can attract.
They can draw them in. But you see, you said something earlier about the artist is not necessarily wealthy.
Yeah.
But you now more or less because you become an artist. So are you making any money?
Yes, you know, first and foremost, I'm a business person. And I keep telling people, you know, this passion and not making money thing, stop it.
Not for you.
No, because we all have to live. And once you go past a particular age, it's important you take care of yourself. Your passion must feed you. So what we have done at Terra Culture is we made art. It's a business. You know, show business is a business. So in doing it, we started off as the business side, then we moved into the artistic. So we're one of the very few spaces where we've married both art and business at the same time. So we are doing well. We're comfortable in our own space.
No pressure.
I'm never pressured. And when I do any project, we look at the math. We do a P&L. There's always a budget. If it's not going to work, we don't do it.
Now, theater was almost as good as dead.
Yes.
And if the story of theater in Nigeria were to be written, there's no way that your name and your contribution won't be in it somewhere. What made you go on that journey, that you had to do something about this space?
Honestly, I didn't go out with a mission. And, you know, some people come out in life planning everything. I never plan. I'm somebody, I wake up and I go, I'm spontaneous. So going into theater, like I told you, was just purely accidental. And in doing it, because I've always loved the arts, literature, history, those were my strongest points. And I just found out that I fell in love with it. But I think it's a function of your personality type. I'm a bit of an OCD type, and I'm a bit of a very passionate person. Anything I decide to do, I do it well. I have that thing called a spirit of excellence, which I pursue every day, that if we're doing anything, let's do it.
It's got to be good.
It's got to be good, otherwise don't bother. And so in Nigeria, you know, when people kind of like shine or they tell you you're great, it's simply because you're doing the average. What anybody else anywhere in the world would be doing, I would be considered average. In Nigeria, we celebrate it as being great because there's so much mediocrity going on. So I'm not a genius. I'm just doing something that I know how to do at the best level of excellence that I know. And I think that's what all of us need to bring to the table in Nigeria.
Okay. Well, how has it been like bringing all the other parts of this mix together? Because I do know that there's some level of rivalry amongst the artistic community.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so how has it been like working with the rest of the crew to get them together? Or did you have to create your own crew?
What has happened over the time is sort of like organic growth. People come to you when they realize that you kind of like know what you're doing.
Your leg is in the door.
Yes, and they know that you seem to only work with the best hands. So people come up to us now without even us having to ask. There's a lot of rivalry in any industry. There is rivalry where we are right now. Even in the movie industry, somebody just woke up and decided to write nasty. You know, everybody's a journalist now because you can just pick up your phone, write nasty things about our movies. The beauty of it is that word of mouth is what sells a product. And the quality of it is what will sell it, no matter what you decide to write. So we've ridden that storm several times at Terra Culture. When we opened Fela and the Kalakuta Queen, somebody decided to write some horrible, at times personal attacks, right? But guess what? It became the highest selling theater production ever in Nigeria. Without them, because it's the people that come to see that validate you. So what we tend to do is we have a very small community of experts. I tend not to go out of my comfort zone because I cherish my peace of mind. And those people have done it for us. Terra Culture, we have about 70-something staff, and those people mean the world to me. And it's their teamwork and their effort that are driving us to where we are today as a group. And in the movie that I made, I'm the director, I'm the visionary, but there were so many people involved in the production, friends, family, donors, organizations, and these are the people that we all need to call on when we're doing anything.
Theater, movie.
Yes.
Which do you prefer?
I think my first love is theater because first it's very real and you can feel the emotions. You know what I mean?
Theater is difficult.
It's hard work, Kosi.
No.
It is hard work.
I've done it before, so I know.
I don't even know how the actors do it, but they're passionate. And that's why you can see the difference. There are people who are doing it out of passion, not for fame or money. And that's why that's excellent. My movie, for instance, there's so many theater practitioners. Elvina Ibris is a theater practitioner, and you can tell the discipline. Even in Europe or in America, when people want to improve their craft, when they're in movies, they go back. You have to go to stage. Yeah. Stage is hard work. You do the same routine over and over. Tony Abraham just posted that I made her do one particular scene 58 times. I didn't count. She was clearly counting. But that is the reality of what we do. On stage, I have to block you. How you carry your hand, your leg, where you stand, what you... So for us, it's precision. And that precision kind of like probably helped us when we went into movie making as well. So I guess everything has its advantage, but I love theater. I really.
So as far as theater goes, what's next?
So I have a stage production for Christmas. And what we're looking at, we have 2 that we're considering. So typically by end of August we decide, but the script is being written. So I'm looking at one that focuses on either King Sunny Ade, the musical, if he permits it. So we're talking to his team, so his story and his music.
Can you just hold your...
Yes.
Quick break, we'll come back.
Okay, thank you.
That is okay.
Thank you.
Welcome back. We see her Bolanle Austen-Peters, as I call her, BAP. BAP. So I have this friend, a fan who's been watching, says, hashtag Terra Culture.
That's some kind of bread. That.
I don't know about that.
No, it is Beautiful African Princess.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I am sorry.
Thank you.
Beautiful African Princess. This is very good. Governments at all levels should support this model as we develop our entertainment industry. Great work from Bolanle Austen-Peters.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bonsa, she appreciates.
Ikponsa.
That's Ikponsa.
He suddenly woke up.
He did not
Where
say
have you been all day?
All the conversations we've had, he did not say anything.
All
So
day, he's been quiet.
He wakes up. Bonsa,
Oh my
well
goodness.
done.
That is so funny.
Bolanle, the fact that you come into this, what happened to the law side of you?
Dead.
Dead?
I don't miss it, and I think that's the thing about life. You need to follow your passion. I mean, I'm in a comfortable position and I'm grateful to God that I'm able to. Not everybody is. But the truth is, I don't miss it. I really don't. And I don't feel like less of a person. You know, when I started Terra, people would make silly comments like, oh, how is your shop? Trying to demean it. But I know the value we brought to the table today. People from name any Ivy League institution that does not come to intern with us at Terra. And I know so many universities that use us as case study. You know, because what we've done is we've sort of like turned the model of funding arts, because typically people get grants and what have you. We are running Arts Center based purely on revenue generation internally. So we've done almost the impossible.
And your food.
And our food. And we made Nigerian food beautiful,
it's
you know.
still great.
Oh my goodness. Please come for lunch. So it's still a popular destination for food as well.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But I would think that the law thing will be playing a role in your contract and signing of it.
It does. You know, it never dies because you studied it and worked. I probably worked as a lawyer for about maybe 10 years post-law school. So it's part of my DNA. But in terms of missing the practice of it, nah, I don't.
Okay. Theatre. I keep going back to theatre. Now, you, like I said earlier, you were part of those who are trying to revive theatre in Nigeria. Where do you think theatre is going? Do you see it improving?
Oh, yes. I mean, certainly it's not where it was 7-10 years ago. There's a greater appreciation of theatre. So let me give you an example. When we started, when I used to watch those plays in Terra Culture, the small hall, we'll have a followership of 100 people. At times, you'll only have 10 people in the audience. So when we have our productions, in less than 10 days, we get an average of 10,000 people coming to see the production. I think the best way I can tell you where Nigerian theatre is going is what happened to us in South Africa. The South African government funded the entire trip of 60 people, my team, to come to South Africa. Now, there was Sarafina showing in the same space. They gave Sarafina, which was a Broadway show, gave Sarafina the 200-seater theater. They gave Fela and the Kalakuta Quiz a 1,300-seater theater. We were sold out for 2 weeks. And one day I sat there and I had tears rolling down my... Because you watch and you're like, this is the greatest export Nigeria can have of itself. People coming, all the Nigerians that were in South Africa came to me and said, thank you. Thank you for making us look good. Some will tell you, this is the first time I've been proud being a Nigerian in South Africa. From ministers, name it, everybody came. I think Koye was with us in South Africa. It was momentous. It was beautiful. It was something that every Nigerian should be proud of. When we were also invited to go to Egypt by the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, you know, these are moments in time that we need to capture. But sadly, these things don't get front page news. It's silliness oftentimes that we see. And the reality is that you can't hold back the storm or what have you, where it's going places, and it's only a matter of time.
I was talking to a movie producer 2 days ago, and he was lamenting the lack of support from government. And I was saying, but you all are thriving in spite of it.
Yes.
And he said to me, we're thriving, we're surviving. We should be doing more than surviving. And he said to me, a producer and director of his caliber over there would have his own private jet.
Well,
but he says, there's no support. Even though outside of this country, you all are doing this country proud. Nigerian movies are selling like hotcakes outside. Nigerian music is selling like hotcakes. So, do you miss the presence of government?
Well, I mean, government is important in every facet of life in Nigeria. What has happened is over the years, you know, decades, so it's not about this present administration. There's been neglect in every sector, health, education. So the arts is not peculiar.
You can't complain.
Yes, indeed, we can do the stats on health sector, education. It's the same thing. And what you have is, if you look at what the Wizkids and the what have you music have also done, it's all been done single-handedly. Nollywood has driven itself also single-handedly to where it is today. Government is taking note, though. It is, because I know for a fact that there's also a fund that they're putting together. And they're also, I went on a trip to LA with the vice president. You know, they were encouraging investment in this sector. So they are doing their own bit. It might not be adequate at the moment, but I think that everybody's beginning to see the potential. But this is all solely due to the push from the individuals in the sector. So that person is correct.
All right, thank you.
Bolanle Austen-Peters.
Yes, ma'am.
BAP.
That's right.
Beautiful African princess.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please go to watch our movie in the cinemas. Thank you.
The Bling Legosians.
Yes, in the cinemas. The Bling Legosians in the cinemas. Please go watch it. From now till God knows when. We'll be there. Every cinema in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And well done.
Thank you.
For keeping Nigeria on the map.
Thank you.
And so that is Sunrise for this morning. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be with you again with a fresh edition next Saturday. I'm Alero Edu, wishing you all the best and see you next month.
That'll be the first in the month of July. Have a good day. I'm Neo Tagwe. Be the best you can be. Love your neighbor as yourself and love this country.